You sit in a warm room, surrounded by familiar walls, predictable routines, and the gentle hum of a life without sharp edges. But somewhere behind those comforts, your spirit paces like a caged wolf, restless, unsatisfied, quietly losing its hunger. You've mistaken this warmth for safety, but it is only insulation. Insulation from the man you were supposed to become. There is a moment, subtle and almost embarrassing, when you finally admit to yourself that you didn't stumble into comfort. You crafted it, one small surrender at a time, until it wrapped around you like padded walls. This is the painful truth. The cage was never imposed on you. You built it with your own hands, and every soft choice, every avoided challenge, every quiet concession became another brick. You thought you were being kind to yourself. You thought rest would repair you, but comfort is deceptive. It begins as a kindness and evolves into an anchor around your ankles, dragging you slowly into a life where nothing hurts, and nothing awakens you either. Musashi lived on the opposite end of that spectrum. His life was carved from cold winds, empty stomachs, and relentless uncertainty. And yet, he walked with the clarity of a man who was fully alive. You, on the other hand, have been cushioned into weakness by a world that tells you ease is the goal. But listen closely. You are not stuck. You are padded. There is a difference. Look around at the screens that demand nothing from you, the routines that require no courage, the pleasures that dull your instincts. This is the silent cage, not made of steel, but softness. And the cruelest part, it doesn't lock you inside. It convinces you to stay. There is a blade in you, a sharpness you once carried without effort, but steel left too long near the fire begins to lose its hardness. It becomes warm, then soft, then useless. This is what comfort does to a man, not abruptly, not with violence, but with gentle heat that melts the edge you once relied on. You tell yourself you're relaxing. You tell yourself you're unwinding. But ask yourself honestly, when was the last time comfort restored you? When was the last time it made you stronger, clearer, more present? Comfort doesn't restore. It dissolves. It blurs the mind. It softens your instincts. It wraps you in a warmth that feels healing but slowly steals your ability to face the world with grit. And beneath all this comfort lies a quiet fear. The fear of stepping beyond what you know, the fear of pushing your limits, the fear of confronting the vastness of your own potential. Men hide inside comfort because it gives them excuses. No challenge, no failure, no failure, no reflection, no reflection, no growth. Comfort protects you from the pain of becoming. Musashi understood this deeply. To him, a warrior seeking softness was already defeated, because softness lures a man into forgetting the cold truth of life. Nothing great is built in comfort. Every modern indulgence, the easy dopamine, the endless entertainment, the instant praise, is another thread in the web that catches your mind and drains its strength. You may believe comfort holds you, but it doesn't. It erodes you. Slowly, quietly, almost lovingly. And one day you wake up and realize the man you once were, sharp, ambitious, alive, has been washed away by warmth he didn't notice flooding in. Comfort doesn't hold you. It dissolves you. There was a time when hunger lived inside you, not the hunger for food, but the hunger for more life than your hands could hold. The hunger to build, to conquer, to rise. But hunger cannot survive in a world padded with ease. It begins dying the moment everything becomes good enough. Comfort kills hunger not with force, but by numbing the parts of you that once reached outward. When every desire is met instantly, the fire that once drove you turns to ash. You stop wanting deeply. You stop reaching boldly. You become a man who drifts instead of hunts. And drifting is the first stage of death for the masculine spirit. Musashi walked into battle hungry, tired, unpolished, yet sharper than the comfortable men he faced. His hunger did not weaken him. It clarified him. It stripped away illusions and left only purpose. Modern men reject hunger, thinking it is a sign of lack. But hunger is the beginning of every great creation. It is the fire that melts the old version of you, so the new one can emerge. But you have numbed every want. Your ambitions erode quietly, buried under predictable routines and digital comforts. And because nothing demands your full strength, you forget you even have it. Hunger used to be a compass. Now it is a stranger. The tragedy is not that you lack purpose. It's that comfort has muted your desire to search for one. You avoid longing because longing hurts. But avoiding longing kills you slowly, gently, silently. You cannot rise while you're full. Only the hungry climb mountains. Only the hungry carve their names into history. And only the hungry wake up every morning with a reason to breathe deeply and walk into the world with intent. Comfort enters through the mind long before it touches the body. It speaks in whispers. Stay here. Don't risk. Don't strain. These whispers are subtle, disguised as peace, disguised as rational caution. But every time you listen, your mind loses a little of its hardness. The hardness that once allowed you to step into uncertainty without trembling. A soft mind becomes still water, smooth on the surface, unbothered, appealing. But beneath that stillness, stagnation breeds, fear festers, doubt multiplies, dreams rot. What looks calm is actually decay, slow and quiet, happening just below the surface where no one else can see. Weak men crave guarantees. They wait for certainty. They demand the world promise them a safe outcome before they take a single step. But strong men, Musashi's men, walk into uncertainty with steady breath. They understand that the mind that avoids friction becomes fragile, while the mind that accepts difficulty becomes unbreakable. Musashi trained discomfort the way others train muscles. He sought it daily, the cold, the fatigue, the strain, because he knew comfort was poison to the mind. He lived in the tension between fear and clarity, and in that space, he became impossible to bend. Today, mental softness takes different forms. Overthinking replaces action. Emotional fragility replaces discipline. Men plan endlessly because planning feels safe, while movement feels dangerous. But planning is not living. Thinking is not becoming. Your mind hardens in the cold. You know this. Every time you've stepped into something uncomfortable, every time you've embraced the difficulty instead of retreating from it, you've felt the shift, the tightening of focus, the sharpening of instinct, the awakening of something ancient inside you. Comfort quiets that voice. Discomfort brings it roaring back. Look around you. The world doesn't just tolerate your softness, it rewards it. It packages indulgence as self-care, sells it with soothing voices, and convinces you that decay is a form of healing. Weakness has become a product. Avoidance has become a lifestyle. Distraction has become a culture. This is not an accident. A man who is soft is easy to entertain, easy to please, and easy to control. Modern life treats you like a domesticated tiger, well-fed, well-praised, declawed without resistance. You are told you're powerful, but your power is symbolic. You are safe, but your safety is a cage. You are comfortable, but comfort has stolen your teeth. Every system around you is engineered with convenience in mind. Food delivered instantly, entertainment on demand, opinions spoon-fed to you so you never have to think deeply. The path of least resistance isn't simply offered, it's advertised. And every time you choose it, it grows more familiar, more seductive, more inescapable. Musashi rejected this long before modern life existed. He refused convenience, not because he glorified suffering, but because he understood that ease erodes presence. Friction sharpens perception. Discomfort forces a man to awaken. A man surrounded by conveniences forgets the weight of his own strength. A man surrounded by challenges remembers it. The truth is painful, but necessary. The world doesn't want you dangerous. It wants you dependent. Dependent on stimulation. dependent on validation, dependent on systems that require you to stay small and predictable. You call it lifestyle, but it is a leash woven from comfort, disguised as freedom, wrapped gently around your spirit until you no longer notice the pull. This is how men disappear, not with violence, but with luxury. Comfort is the leash. You'll just call it lifestyle. A man doesn't break out of comfort with a dramatic gesture. The escape begins quietly, almost imperceptibly, like the first tremor in a wall that has stood for years. It begins when you finally place your palm against the inner surface of your own cage and feel it tremble beneath a force you haven't used in a long time. Your will, the first crack, is never loud. It's a single choice that defies the softness you've been drowning in. A cold morning embraced instead of avoided. A difficult task chosen before an easy distraction. A moment of honesty where you stop negotiating with your weakness. These small discomforts do something extraordinary. They reawaken your clarity. The world tells you discomfort is punishment. Musashi teaches the opposite. Discomfort is the sharpening stone. It is the discipline that liberates you from the padded walls you mistook for peace. Every act of deliberate struggle becomes a signal, a reminder that there is still a warrior inside you, waiting for the door to open. And when you choose the harder path even once, something ancient stirs. Your breath steadies. Your gaze narrows. A forgotten alignment returns to your spine. You begin to notice the weight of your own choices again, the responsibility of your own direction. This is the return of masculine clarity. The first rebellion is simple. You say no. No to ease. No to distraction. No to the subtle poison of comfort that has been seeping into your bones. And in that refusal, you feel something inside you break free. A single act of discomfort can break a decade of softness. It doesn't matter how long you've been asleep. The moment you stand, the walls around you begin to shake. There comes a point in a man's awakening when comfort loses its power over him. Not because he avoids it, but because it no longer seduces him. He walks through it the way a warrior walks calmly through a burning village, unmoved, unshaken, seeing clearly what others are blinded by. Comfort becomes something he observes, not something he bows to. This transformation is not about living in misery. It is about developing a spirit that remains sharp, no matter the circumstances. A mind that does not soften when life becomes easy. A heart that does not fall asleep when warmth surrounds it. You become the man who cannot be controlled by pleasure, because you have built yourself in the fire of discipline. Comfort stops being a trap. It becomes a test, a quiet, persistent question. Will you forget who you are? And the man who has walked through cold mornings, who has chosen the harder path, who has embraced friction instead of fleeing from it, he answers that question without words. His actions speak for him. Musashi lived this truth. He chose clarity over ease, purpose over indulgence, edge over softness. He understood that a man must be forged, not finished. That strength must be renewed through constant, deliberate contact with the uncomfortable. You are no different. The world may be softer, but the requirements of greatness have not changed. When you practice voluntary hardship, something shifts inside you. A quiet confidence settles into your bones. The kind of confidence that does not need applause, does not need reassurance, does not need the world to be easy. You become grounded in your own direction. You walk with an inner weight that comfort cannot dissolve. This is the moment you outgrow the cage, not by escaping it, but by becoming too vast to fit inside it. Comfort loses its grip. The world loses its influence. You walk your path with cold clarity, steady breath, and a sharpened spirit. Comfort is no longer your master. You have outgrown the cage.